Hi, this is MJ, and I'm so excited that you're joining me for our Sun-Kissed Cardigan Crochet Along. You want to definitely check the description box for the links so that you can get everything you need to begin this cardigan pattern. So just a quick overview is you'll need 2 hooks for this pattern. The majority of our cardigan is worked in a 4.5 millimeter, but you will also need a 4 millimeter crochet hook for when we do our finishing edging. The yarn that I've used for this design is Cotton from We Crochet and Knit Picks. It is a gorgeous cotton yarn so that this cardigan can be used as a cover-up, a beach cover-up if you want, or just as a nice spring summer cardigan. If you can't get your hands on any of this yarn, then definitely you can go with just a DK weight yarn, and there'll be all details in the blog as to how you can substitute this for something else. But the exciting news is that We Crochet will be shipping out yarn again as of April 6th. So you should be able to order this online and get what you need. Our crochet along is going to be broke up into separate videos so that we can work along. And I really encourage you to join our Facebook group so that you can ask questions, talk to other group members, and get all the help you need while you make this cardigan. But I will be going through things step by step throughout the video tutorials. So just keep looking back for the next video to pop up. Now the size that I'm demonstrating throughout the tutorial is our small to large size. It's an oversized fit with a large oversized sleeve, and because of the stitch pattern I've used, it is a fairly large repeat, so there's a big size range for our sizing. I have an extra small size that will be fairly small, so if you're a very tiny person or even a young teen, the extra small is probably suitable for you, but for most sizes I would say the medium to large, and then we're going to have some plus sizes as well. But the sizes do jump up quite significantly just because of the stitch pattern worked in this design. If you go to the blog, again, you will be able to find all the details of the size dimensions so that will help you to pick the size that you want to make. So now to do a substitute, this is a really important calculation that you can use for any project. So I'm going to work through that with you. So what you want to do is take the yards, which is 123, and divide it by the grams. So this ball is 50 grams. So when I take 123 and I divide it by 50, I get 2.46. So this basically is telling me the thickness of this yarn. So if you have any ball of yarn, it doesn't matter how many grams the ball is or how many yards, you still take that same calculation, you just divide it out. Like you could have a bigger ball that's 100 grams, but it maybe has 200 yards. So you would divide 200 by 100. And what you want to do is get a calculation as close to 2.46 as possible. That is going to show you that that yarn is a similar thickness. If it's also a cotton, it should work up very similar. Depending on your blend, you may get different drape and so forth, but if you can at least go by that calculation, you're going to get a yarn that's very similar in thickness and will most likely meet the gauge for the pattern. Now the next important step, once you have your yarn figured out, your yarn determined you're going to use for this project, we need to do a gauge swatch. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do this swatch, and I want your measurements to be as close to mine as possible so that your cardigan is going to come out the size that you want it to. Now this is blocked. So what we're going to do is we're going to work through the gauge swatch together, and then I want you to block it. Now this is another gauge swatch that I have done, but I'm just going to show you sort of the process. So I wet it all down and then I pin it out. Lace especially is very important to block because it's going to be all kind of, you want it to look nice and be all pulled apart. Lace can have a tendency to bunch up when you're working it. So what I want you to do is block it, and that's the measurement we're going to take, because when we finish our piece, it's all going to be blocked and stretched out. So we can really be deceived with that initial gauge swatch if we haven't blocked it. And I'm just going to give you an example here. So this is blocked, it's nice and flat, and this is my piece not blocked. It's pulling in, it's not stretched out, it's not super flat. You can't really see the detail the same. The bottom here is out, this is bunching in. What our blocking is going to do, it's going to fix everything so that we have a perfectly evenly rectangle piece that's going to be stretched out to our measurement. So right now, if I measured this, it's not really going to be the finished measurements that I want. So this is why it's really important to get this blocked. And it's like it's pressed. It's like ironing for yarn. So you get a really nice finish, and that's what we want for our garments. So we're going to get working on this gauge swatch, and I just want you to sort of see how the repeats work. So this stitch pattern is worked in multiples of 10 plus 2. So as you can kind of look at half of it here and half of it here, one of our shell sort of repeats here. That's a repeat, and this is another one. So for my gauge swatch, I've chained 22 because I have 2 of my repeats here plus 2 to get the pattern started. So the hook size I'm using is a 4.5 millimeter US 7, and I'm using a Susan Bates hook. So you're going to work up your swatch and you're going to wet it and block it out. Now, if you are off on your measurements, you may need to adjust your hook size because you may crochet tighter, you might crochet looser, and that's really okay how you crochet. You want to crochet how you're comfortable, but you just may need to alter up the hook size to match the gauge swatch. So let's begin by chaining 22. So we'll get a slip knot on our hook and we'll chain 22. Okay, so I've worked my 22 chains. Now I just want to say that I'm not going to be teaching you how to make the stitches. So if you don't know how to crochet, then this is not a good crochet along for you. But if you already know your stitches, then that's great. I'll just be teaching you the stitch pattern and how to make the cardigan. I will work through it fairly slowly, but you do need to know how to crochet. So we're going to work a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So there's 1, 2, and we're going to work a single crochet in the next stitch. Now I also suggest you follow along with your written pattern or the stitch diagram that is available in the pattern. So now we'll chain 3, and we're going to skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3. In the 4th chain, we'll work a double crochet, we'll chain 3, and back in that same chain we'll work another double crochet, and we'll chain 3. We're going to skip the next 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th we're going to work a single crochet, a single crochet in the next chain, and a single crochet in the next chain. Now we'll chain 3, skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3. In the next chain, we'll work a double crochet, chain 3, and a double crochet in that same chain. Now we're coming to the end, so we'll chain 3, so we'll be skipping 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and ending with 2 single crochet. And if you haven't ended correctly, just go back and recount, and maybe you just have to redo your swatch. So you're starting out with a chain of 22. We skip 3 chains in between, and it should end correctly. So if it's not, just go back and redo it. So now we're moving on to row 2. And we're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to work 1 single crochet in the first stitch. Then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And now in our chain 3 space here, this is like a V and we've made a space, we're going to do 7 double crochet. Okay, so I worked through that fairly quickly, so there's 7 double crochet in there. Now we'll chain 3, and we're going to work a single crochet in the single crochet that's in the center. So we skip the first one, work a single crochet in the next. Oops. And then we chain 3. And now in our next chain 3 space, we're going to work 7 double crochet again. Okay, so now we're finishing up and we're going to chain 3. And in the last single crochet, we're going to do a single crochet. Okay, and now we're going to chain 6 and we're going to turn. So now what we're going to do is work single crochets in every DC of our shell. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now we're going to chain 5. And we'll work single crochets across the next shell. So 7 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And to finish off here, we're going to chain 2 And we're going to work a treble crochet in that final single crochet. So yarn over twice, going through the single crochet. So now this is how it's looking. So now for row 4, we're going to chain 4 and we're going to turn. And now we'll work a double crochet in that same space. So we've made a little V here. Now we'll chain 3. And we're working only 3 single crochets through the center. So we're skipping the first 2 singles, working 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you should have 2 singles on the other side that we're skipping. Now we're going to chain 3, and then we want to make another V here, and we're going to do it in the center of the chain 5. So we need to skip over 2 of the chains, and in the 3rd chain we're going to work a double crochet. So push that through the chain, double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Then going back into that same chain, we're working a double crochet. So this is setting up that next shell that's going to be in the center of these shells. Then we chain 3 and we're working 3 single crochet. So we're skipping 2 singles. And in the next 3 singles, we'll work a single in each. We'll chain 3. And you just look at the pattern. We're doing, so in this big chain space here, we're doing a V. So we're working a double, chain 1, and a double. So these V's on the ends, but they only have 1 chain in them as opposed to 3 that's in the center. And now for row 5, we'll chain 3. And we're going to do a half shell in this space. So we're going to work 3 double crochet, and our chain 3 is counting as one of those doubles. Okay, so there's our half shell made. We're going to chain 3. And in the center of our 3 single crochets, we do 1 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, we chain 3 again, and now we're doing our full 7 DC shell in between here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we do our single crochet down here in the center of our 3 singles. Chain 3, and we're doing a half shell, so we're going to do 4 double crochet in that final V stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And now we'll chain 1 and turn on to row 6, and we're back to doing our singles on top of the shells. So we'll work a single crochet in the first 4 stitches here. And then we're going to chain 5 to get over to the next shell. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip over and work a single crochet in each of those double crochets. So a total of 7. and chain 5 to get over to the next one. 2, 3, 4, 5. And single crochets. So we have 3 doubles here. 1, 2, 3, and then we have that chain 3, and we'll do a single crochet right into that. So we have 4. So 4 on this side, 4 on this side, it's all even. And now we have one more row we're gonna do in our repeat. So we're gonna do row 7 now. So chain 1, turn. We're going to work a single crochet in the first and the second. And then we're going to chain 3. And now we need to set up our shells again. So we're doing them in the chain 5s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's the third chain right here that we're doing our double. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And our double, 1, 2, 3. And then we're skipping over 2 single crochets and we're doing 3 singles. And then 1, 2, 3. And in the third chain of the chain 5, so 1, 2, 3, we're doing a double, chain 3, and a double, chain 3, and then we end the same as we start with a single crochet in the last 2. Okay, so I've worked through that swatch with you, and now we're just going to compare as to how they look different. So as you can see, if you take this measurement without blocking, it's not going to equal this. This is why the blocking is so important. So what you want to do now is you want to wet this. You can take a spray bottle, you can dip it in the sink, however you want, and you want to stretch it out, and I'm going to give you those measurements right now. Okay, so if I measure mine across, I'm measuring a total of 5.75. Okay, so 5.75. This way, I'm measuring 3.5. So 3.5 in total. So I hope you're going to enjoy this crochet along with me. I hope you're going to enjoy making the Sunkissed cardigan, and I really can't wait to see all of the beautiful colors you're going to make it in and all of your beautiful designs.